Hey, so today I'm going to be showing how to print e-reader dot codes and be able to scan them with a Nintendo e-reader. I'm fully aware this might be an obsolete video by now since the e-reader was discontinued about 8 years ago, but I'm making it just in case anyone like me wants to relive those Game Boy moments, can scan e-reader cards and have access to bonus content, like in my case the Pokemon Eon Ticket event. Thankfully, some people out there were able to figure out how the e-reader functions and write a program to be able to print e-reader dot codes and successfully be able to scan them. Thanks to Tim Sherwagen and Caitsith too for writing up 2 Dotcode programs alongside with a bunch of other useful tools to use with it. In this video though, I'll be using Tim's program to print out the codes since it's the first one I found out about and worked for me. But either or should work just fine. I have both links to the programs in the description. So here's a little background as to how the actual e-reader dot codes function in case any of you are interested, courtesy of Caitsith. Basically, you have these dot code blocks, typically 28 of them alongside long strips and 18 in short strips on the cards. Essentially, as color coded and indicated on here, the green area serves as a guide bar for the reader. The red area and vertical columns serve as an address bar and help determine the direction in which the e-reader card is scanned by. Since typically they're scanned from left to right, these help piece back the raw data when scanned out of order. The blue area is where basically all the data is stored. First and last rows are 26 dots wide, as you can see here. The other 26 rows in the middle are 34 dots wide, totaling 1040 dots, being able to store 104 bytes of raw data per dot code block, typically. Data is encoded in each dot code block from left to right and top to bottom, and after being scanned, the data being extracted, the reader decodes the raw data into binary data, and then it's read by the emulator, or in this case the GameBoy Advance or whatever system you're playing it on. Altogether, when combined into 28 or 18 strips, these dot code blocks are how e-reader cards are basically read. So with all that in mind, what you're going to need to be able to print and scan dot codes is a high resolution printer with at least 600 by 600 dpi, that's dots per inch printing resolution, glossy photo paper to print the dot codes on, preferably Canon's Photo Paper Glossy 2 model PP201. I've tried personally 3 different types of glossy photo paper, but none of them have been able to scan except for this one, and a pack of 100 goes for around $5.99 on Amazon, I think. Either Caitsith or Tom's Dotcode print program, and obviously an e-reader and system to play it all on. So what you're going to want to do first is head over to one of the links that I provided in the description. It'll take you to either or Firefly's Skynet website or Caitsith's website, and basically you could either use both of their Dotcode printers. For this tutorial though, I'm going to be using Tim's just because that's the first one I was exposed to and I'm familiar with. So basically you just go and under the link that I provided, you go and download it, the Nintendo e-reader Dotcode print version 1.0. I don't think they ever released another version past this one for that matter, but you just download it, and once the program is extracted, you're basically going to want to head over to netcprint.exe, the executable file. And it should have a log. Here is all my preset printer information. For example, I have a Canon MG6220 with a max resolution of 600 by 600 dpi in black and white, which is what the dot code is going to print in, and the paper size as well as other information depending on the printer, of course. Here you can select your printer. You could print a file or even make a PDF out of it. Here you have options within the actual software to set the DPI resolution to, and here you have the offset of the X and Y coordinates on the actual dot code for you to be able to print, basically in case you wanted to print more to the left or to the right or higher or lower. This you could leave it for the most part on 0. I printed mine with 0 and 0 and it worked straight off the bat. On the other day I set it to 50 so it could print a little bit higher, but that's just me because I was designing a specific I was designing for the Pokemon Eon Ticket. I was printing out a special one that looked kind of different, but other than that, 0 and 0 should work just fine. And here you have the dot code path. For this, for example, here I have the Eon Ticket preset. They're usually raw files, .raw files or .bin files that work with this. And for this, I'll also link in the description another link that'll take you to another website. I use this one, e-reader.caitsith.com, where he provides quite a bunch of raw e-reader Dotcode files that you can go and and download. That'll work. For the most part, I'm only interested in the Pokemon Battle E-Collection, as well as, like I said, the Eon ticket. But any of those will work, and basically once there and opened here, once there and opened here, you're gonna want to obviously download it and then just direct the path to the actual code. And here is where you're gonna want to go right after doing all this. You're gonna want to go to control settings for the most part, and go to your printer settings, your device and printer settings. Here's mine, what it looks like. It'll depend and differ on what operating system you have, but for the most part I'm using Windows 10, 64-bit professional, but it doesn't matter. They're more or less, when you're using Windows, it'll look exactly the same. So here I have my printer, and you're gonna go to printer preferences, and like I said, this varies vastly on what printer you have, but for the most part, as a point of reference, you're gonna have to have it on photo printing, no borderless printing. The media type is gonna have to be obviously the photo paper glossy, or any sort of paper glossy medium that you might have in accordance to your printer settings. Print quality at the highest. Paper size, the one that I'm using, like I said previously, is the photo paper glossy 2 by Canon, and that's a 4x6 10 by 15 centimeter photo paper, 4 by 6 inches, and the orientation on portrait. The source is the rear tray, and yeah, I have heard from comments I have read on a different video where I actually got this knowledge from, that if you print in grayscale, it's better. Some people have actually had success printing only in grayscale. My first time, I printed in grayscale all the time, and I had, for example, what's it called? I only had it on grayscale, and it would not work. I took it off, and the second I took it off, it worked. So like I said, it's a trial and error type of thing that you're gonna go through until you finally get it right. So you're basically gonna apply those settings, and after those settings are applied, it's gonna default it to all other programs and that require the printer, which include obviously this software. And then you're just gonna hit here to refresh it just in case the printer information. And what I'm gonna do next is print it and show you guys how it's printed. So here I have it set up. I'm about to print it out. I'm gonna print out a random Pokemon card from the Battle E collection. So that's printing. I have the 4x6 paper on the rear tray. And when it prints, for the most part, it should look like that. Let me get it. It should end up on the corner of the paper. This is with the offsets at 0 and 0. Let me show you guys for a difference in terms of size comparison, the difference between the printed version and an actual card. Here I have an actual Pokemon card, so you can see the size difference of the actual e-reader barcodes. It's going to be always a little bit bigger. This is by 600 by 600 resolution in terms of DPI, but for the most part it should always scan. Let me just scan it so you guys can see. Here I have a DS. Whoops. I have it hooked up and everything. So I'm gonna get the actual paper that I just printed, and of course it's gonna take, like I said, a few trial and error times, but hopefully I get it right the first time. And there you go. Once printed, you should be able to, once printed and scanned, it should be able to detect it. This is one of the, like I said, from the Pokemon E collection, the battle ones, the random trainers. And yeah, this is a real card, just so you guys could see that it works, like the card that I was showing for size comparison from earlier. Oh, whoops. Oh, it's giving me a warning because I scanned that previous card, the one that I printed. But yeah, for the most part, I just did this because I myself wanted to scan the actual Pokemon Eon event. I never was able to, as a kid, go to any of the events or order the tickets via the, what's it called, the magazine that they had that was going out that actually had the ticket. So I made myself some of these. That's actually the only reason I actually wanted to get this done. But for the most part, it works with all e-reader cards that that Nintendo has come out with, and that they've been transferred as raw data files, and that you can find online. So yeah, let me just try out the Eon ticket event so you guys can see. Let me just start it. I don't know why, but these I have to scan extra slowly for them to be able to scan properly. You see, if not, it gives me a read error. I don't know why it gives me a read error. Like I said, it's like a trial and error type of thing. Don't give up on the first scan that you do. See, that one got it somehow. So yeah, basically you just link it after that, at least for this, the event, you just link it to a Ruby or Sapphire via link cable, and you have the event. Thanks for watching. That's basically it. Leave in the description, I mean in the comments, any sort of dot codes you want to scan or have tried. And but yeah, that's basically how you print to scan your own e-reader dot codes.